What is the case for innovation in sustainability, transition? What is the case, especially given the fact that you have also led some innovation projects from the C3 Labs? It would be nice to talk about your success story and why every company should consider innovation, especially as a leverage for sustainability.
Well, yeah, I mean, another way of looking at it is, you can't afford not to do innovation. The status quo is yesterday's news, So it's a constantly changing, rules of the game kind of situation globally, as we're discussing, right, with geopolitics and with the times that we're in. And so, yeah, there's to me, it's one of the most interesting things because right now one of the projects that I'm co-leading, we're calling it the C3 Labs. It's collaboration for complex challenges. So first time we're going to be, I mean, in the pilots, right? So piloting is another example of testing out innovation. So we'll be launching in Kenya and Thailand and a global lab as well, focusing on the complexity at the nexus, the heart of the climate, biodiversity, and food systems area. So the challenges that are at these intersections is what we'll be focusing on in those country contexts. And really, we're looking at kind of I guess you could say, flying at two levels of altitude. One is around deep collaboration. So I mentioned earlier, honestly, not much is going to work super well, super right, unless you've got the right team or the right people with the right mindsets. And what I mean by that is people that are comfortable working in with unknowns, working with emergence, working low, a little bit. It's very cliche to say, but outside of the box, and that's part of what they're bringing to the table. So we're testing out methodologies and codifying them around deep collaboration. So what's the human side of how these things can move forward and generate? And then we're looking at the real serious challenges that we're talking around biodiversity loss or climates are impacting what was, previously very normal, say, agricultural land, and then there's droughts. So this is disruptive. So these are the kinds of examples of very real challenges happening on the ground that we want to bring people together to start building, portfolio of different innovative in interventions. Now, what's interesting is that we also chose not to really use the word innovation in our way we're talking about this, although it's a complete innovation initiative. um, we find sometimes the word can throw people, off, right? So it's kind of similar, like when you talk about love or God all around the world, people have very different associations. Like, what is God? What is love? These are innovations similar. It can mean a lot of different things, and it can also confuse people because it's not always clear the starting point of how someone is perceiving it. So we're doing an innovation project, but not calling it an innovation. We don't use the language of innovation. Actually, I don't even think once on our website or in our slide deck. Um, but that's ultimately, yeah, what we're doing. And the aim is also around how do we transform institutions that are, kind of out of date. And I'm not going to name names, but the point is, there's a lot of reasons why the status quo things stay stuck. And a lot of times it's because of old systems and just how things operate. Um, and so how do you shift things internally, right? So these are the questions that we'll be exploring in this new initiative we're in pre-launch mode, so we'll be launching soon. But it's one of the most exciting things that I'm lucky to be working on.